Hello, everyone. Mark Gilead here for AIM Country Music Television, and our guest is Andrew Stern of the husband and wife duo, Three Pairs of Boots. They met through a Singer Wanted ad, were married within a year, and then went on to create a distinctive sound of their own. Andrew started this musical journey while still running his successful tax accounting business. Shortly after releasing their debut album, Gone South, he sold the business to make the band his central focus. If all this isn't enough, Andrew also does a cooking show, Quittin Country. Tune in to watch him whip up a down-home meal and serenade you a little bit while he cooks. Andrew's here to talk about their new video for Quittin Time. Let's get him in here right now to talk about what might just be your new favorite song. Welcome, Andrew. How are you doing today?
Things are well. Things are going well.
Well, that's good to hear. Well, thanks for joining us today. I'd like to start off with a little explaining. Three Pairs of Boots is a husband and wife duo, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so what does the third pair of boots signify?
Well, when this project started, there was actually a third person involved, a good friend of mine, longtime friend of both of ours, Happy Sanchez. And he helped us do some songwriting in the very beginning because we were transitioning from a slightly different genre into Americana. And he helped with some songwriting. And I thought, well, how am I going to, emphasize that there's three of us here? So I came up with that name. I don't know where it came from. It just, it's not easy to find a good band name. And so there it was. And then within, a month or two after that, he, it was sort of mutually agreed upon that he would leave and we would continue. It was when he was with us in the very beginning, we would just get together and like just spitball things like, oh, I got this line or got this chord progression. And we would just write a song right then and there. And I found that as I got more into the songwriting for this particular project, that the songs would be better if I really worked at them, essentially a craft, write something and then the next day go back and improve upon it. Some songs come out in 20 minutes, some songs take a week. You never know. But it was not the first time that he kind of jumped in with Laura, my spouse, and I to kind of kickstart a project. So that's where the third pair of boots came from. And now we just sort of refer to whoever we're working with, like, if Eddie, our mix engineer, is working with us at some particular times, like, oh, he's the third pair. Or if we go play a gig and the stand-up bass player is playing, okay, he's the third pair of boots. And then if we do, we've done some duo gigs, and I may just make a joke during the show, like, "Oh, it looks like we left a pair of boots, back at home." So it was just to signify that there were three people in the beginning.
Exactly.
So,
I think it makes a ton of sense. I just think one of those things people are going to want to know eventually, and I didn't find it anywhere, so I had to know that.
well, a friend of Laura's one time asked her, like, shouldn't it be more like 300 pairs of boots? Because I've seen your closet.
Exactly. Take a few minutes to tell us about this dynamic duo you got going here.
Well, the backstory, I'll try to be brief, is that I met my spouse a long time ago, met her through a want ad, Singer Wanted. I was doing a project with a friend of mine who was a lyricist, and I was singing on the demos, and I am not a good singer. I've got pretty good pitch. I don't have that instrument, singers are, to a certain extent, they're born with that instrument. So she, of the 50 people who responded to the ad, there were two people who I actually invited over to the studio, because I would go to people's houses and, like, oh, play me, a tape from, some band you're in that shows me, what you are as a singer, and I'll play you what we're doing and see if it's compatible. So I went to her house, and she said she was interested, and then I said, fine, here's the tape, call me when you're ready. She never called me. I called her back a month later. I said, are you still interested? And she said, well, yeah, but I lost your number. It's like, oh, great. If I hadn't called, my life would have been completely different. So anyway, so she came over and auditioned, and literally, I mean, there, I like, I can sort of divide musicians and or people who want to be musicians into two basic groups. Um, and to me, it's either they have it, whatever it is, or they don't. And there are a lot of people who have it that I personally, I may not like what they're doing. There's a lot of music out there that floats people's boats that doesn't float my boat. But she has it. I mean, she came in, she sang one song for 3 minutes, and I was like, okay, you're hired. And then you get to know people in a band very intensely when you're there, seeing them all the time. And after about 6 months of doing, songwriting sessions, 2, 3 days a week, or we'd come in, we'd write a song, we'd record it. We became really good friends. And then it just kind of turned one night, and that was that. So that's how it started. And we played in rock bands for a long time. And we dabbled in a little dance music, and then just kind of stumbled into a placement opportunity for doing something that was more, I guess the best word to describe would be Americana. And we just said, after we tracked that song, it was like, wow, this is our wheelhouse. This is what we should be doing. And as I looked back upon sort of my musical journey, there were bands that I liked early on when I learned how to play that I realized were very influential to me and were what we were about to embark upon. The Byrds, Buffalo Springfield, Crosby, Stills and Nash, all the folk singers I liked early on, Dylan, Joni Mitchell. So it was very natural to me. Obviously, being a guitar player, this is an incredibly great genre. I was able to expand, when we were doing the second record, there was a song I was like, oh, I'm hearing banjo and maybe mandolin, but I've never played those instruments and I don't own them, but they have strings and I know how to use strings. So I went and bought them, and now I've gotten to the point where I can fake it pretty good. So Laura and I we've had a long history together as a couple, and always playing music. We've always had a studio in the house. Our son, who's now 18 and about to go off to college, we threw musical instruments at him. Nothing stuck until about 3-4 years ago when he asked me to show him something on the guitar. And I did, and he took to it quickly, and he taught himself a lot on his own. And now he's a guitar player. So, in fact, I don't know if you know about this particular type of Telecaster, the B-Bender. So he came up about a year ago, maybe it was 18 months, something like that. He said, hey, Dad, why don't you get a B-Bender? I'm like, what are you talking about? B-Bender is a guitar that was invented by, I think his name was Clarence White, and his brother. He was a guitar player in the Byrds. He started playing with the Byrds on Sweethearts of the Rodeo. And he and his brother they sort of jury rigged a Telecaster. And it has this device on the back that hooks up to the B string. And it's linked to where you would put the strap on towards the neck. And it's got like a little sort of groove in there. And when you're playing the guitar, if you bend the neck down, it's attached from the guitar strap nodule to the B string, and so you can bend it up a step. So it's like a pedal steel.
And you have that.
He has it.
Okay.
Because when he was looking at electric guitars, he's like, oh, because he had originally bought because it was early on. I didn't really know if he was going to start really playing seriously. So we got him a cheap Fender Jaguar, um, and he liked it. And then one day, about a year into that, he came up and he said, "Yeah, Dad, I borrowed your Telecaster. It plays better than my Fender Jaguar." I said, "Well, yeah, mine's a $2,000 American-made Telecaster. Yours is a $400 Mexican-made, or Japanese-made Fender Jaguar." He goes, "Yeah, I can tell the difference." And I thought to myself, well, he's progressing. If he can tell the difference. So, and then he got onto the B bender, and we found one, and I got it for him, and that was that. So, so he's kind of continuing in the tradition of the musical family. I mean, he always, even when he was 2 or 3 years old, Laura would be in the studio tracking vocals on some project, and he's just there sitting around, just absorbing it all.
Soaking it up.
Yeah, I mean, one of the moments that was really touching for Christmas 2 years ago, um, he bought me as a present, bought me a Lead Belly record, because we have a turntable in the kitchen. And I was like, wow, like how cool is that? Like I get to buy my son, guitar tuners that you hang on the edge of the neck, or a capo or whatever, and he's buying me Lead Belly records. It's like,
It's pretty exciting to see that being passed down, isn't it?
it's great. So Laura and I we've always had some musical project going on, and it's just morphed into this sort of nonstop thing with three pairs of boots, which is really, again, I think we really found our wheelhouse on this project, and really love doing it. And here the third record is just about to come out, and it's called Mighty Love. But we finished it last December. We're already writing and recording for the next record, because it
definitely is that's your life, isn't it?
it is, and it's like you enjoy it so much that you kind of can't stop. I still get the same thrill playing now that I did when I was in my teens and I started. There's just that same electricity there.
That's great. Yeah, that's the kind of thing everybody wants, is a job that is that much fun.
Well, I mean, I knew what my job should have been when I was 15. It's like, hey, but the Rolling Stones never called me to play rhythm guitar. So
yeah, I haven't heard from them either. Don't feel bad.
yeah. So I had to do had to do other things to make money. But it's been it's a fascinating connection between your spouse and me, my spouse and myself, with music. It's just it's more than just a family connection, and other things like, oh, okay, we like to go play tennis, great, stuff like that. But the music thing is really held us together. So,
Well, that's fantastic. Well, you're here today to talk about your song "Quittin Time." That song seems pretty sad. What was the inspiration, or should I say sadness, that led to this little number?
that I'm doing most of the songwriting, but Laura will contribute a couple songs per record. Um, there's my phone. Don't have to worry about that. Um, so she has good. She may not have quantity for songwriting. I'm more of a quantity songwriter. She's a quality songwriter. Most of her songs that she does write make it to the record, whereas half of my songs I write don't make it to the record. And because she's the A&R. She's the one. In the end, it's like, no, I'll play her songs. She's like, no, it's not good enough. No, I don't want to sing that one. Like, if she doesn't have a connection, and when I'm writing, I'm always trying to write for her. But anyway, Quittin Time, I think, was it was about, loosely based. I'm not going to name names, but loosely based upon some good friends of ours who we had known for a long time and were together, obviously for a long time, but they were splitting up. And it it really touched both of us, certainly her, and she ended up writing that song, sort of loosely based upon them, but expanding it into, um, her perspective on relationships.
She did a really good job on it because it's one of those where you just almost hedge asking the question because it's like it does have the sadness, it does have that feel about actually loss, and so you kind of hesitate to bring it up and say, what's the inspiration here? Because what if it's some tragedy?
Right.
But yeah, she did a really nice job on this song.
Yeah, I mean, the video which we shot back in Nashville, um, there's a scene where she's walking down the aisle with the bouquet, and in the beginning she's holding flowers and she's wearing a white, as I recall, a white dress, and then all of a sudden, she's holding like paper crumpled up, in a black dress. And so like the white dress was kind of like the dream, and the black dress was like that was the reality. Like her relationship was breaking up, and the promises that were made were never kept.
Right, exactly. Well, I think it's time to share this video. What do you think?
Great, great. Let's relive that cold couple of days in Nashville.
You're watching Three Pair of Boots video for Quittin Time on AIM Country Music Television.
Do you not love me anymore? I miss our being close the way we were before. When I look into your eyes, I can't sense your desire. 'Cause love is fragile as crystal, or steely tough. Can it weather stormy times? Should I bother making plans when life can cut them all day? Is it already quitting time? Have I been reading your mind? I want to know, is there a chance that I've got it all wrong? You promised to marry me, but you never did. You said we'd start a family and raise some kids, but did I spend my years wasting time while you use me with your pretty lies? Am I imagining your long lost days, searching for your hand, but it's not there? I miss our evening strolls, we're not kissing anymore. Does that mean you'll be leaving soon? Is it already quitting time? Have I been reading your mind? I wanna know if there's a chance that I've got it all wrong.
That's a really nice crafted video and a really solid song for when you're feeling, kind of heartbroken. I guess we should hold back the tears a little bit and have you tell us about the team that helped put this thing together. Your videographer, your locations. I mean, just tell us about that.
Uh, we're working with Erin Anderson as our project management. She runs a management company out of Nashville, and she hooked us up with Anna Haas, well-known photographer and videographer in Nashville. So we said, yeah, let's go to Nashville and shoot a video. So we went. It was pre-pandemic, January 2020. And we went out to Nashville. We were out there shooting for 2 days, and then we had set the last day aside for us to just sort of, get to see and hang out in Nashville because we'd never been to Nashville. So we went out and hooked up with Anna and her crew. She had a big crew. She had some people kind of, who were starting the business who were like just doing some more gopher stuff for free. But there was a big crew. It was like 12, 13 people, something like that. And we went out to a farm, the Green Door, something like that. It was probably 10, 15 minutes outside of Nashville proper. Beautiful property. And they actually have a store out there where you can buy their own produce, and they sell soups and sandwiches and stuff like that. Anyway, so they had constructed several different sets. When you watch, as you see the video, there's a sort of a living room set, there's a bedroom set, there's a wedding setup. It was freezing cold. I mean, like 30 degrees. And we were out there shooting all the first day and most of the second day. There was one shot in a club towards the end of the second day, but otherwise it's all outdoors. Laura's wearing a really thin dress, and it's freezing cold. So in between every shot, the two assistants who were there would constantly rush to her, bundle her up in blankets and coats, and because she was freezing cold. But working with Anna and Laura got along really well, and there's always, for Laura, there's always a sense of how am I going to do, how will I be good enough, will I look good enough, everything that a singer, at least for her, she goes through.
I think all the good ones are that way.
Yeah,
Every one of them that have that kind of natural thing and they're really good, they do seem like they're always a little bit worried about reaching that mark they've set for themselves.
Yeah, there's doubts and uncertainties. I think that singers have the most difficult instrument to perform with, just because they're just so exposed. I can hide behind a guitar, but when you're a singer, like, you are out there and you cannot hide. And she's, and some singers are very outgoing. Laura's not, she's a more sort of within herself type person, a little more. She likes to call it, Greta Garbo-ish, because Greta Garbo was, very, very well known for being, the anti-star. Anyway,
Let's wrap this up with you telling us where we can find you and your music and where we can see a live show.
You can find us, of course, everywhere. Social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the usual places. And the music, again, is everywhere. It's Amazon, Apple, Spotify, Pandora, all those kinds of places. We also have a YouTube channel, our own channel, where we have the official videos that we've done so far. And there's a variety of clips from the various live stream performances that we've done. And we also had developed a show, really kind of like a sort of guerrilla marketing promotional show. And our manager is big on artists doing things that don't cost much money, but would be what she calls guerrilla marketing. So we, without any experience at shooting film at all, decided, oh, let's do a 10-minute cooking show in our kitchen. And we shot two seasons, 5 shows each, where basically we'd start the show, I'd play a little bit, then I'd launch into some rap, and we'd start cooking something, whether it was, and there were things that people might not want to try, but we were going to show them how easy it is. Like the first episode we did was a souffle, because I love to cook, and there's some similarities between cooking and music. So we created this show called Quittin Country, where I'd play a little bit, then they'd do some cooking, and then Laura would come on and we'd finish the show by playing, like an abbreviated version of the song. And it was a lot of work, and we made tons of mistakes. It's just like the first show we're shooting with for the souffle, which goes in the oven for 50 minutes, and then 5 minutes before it's supposed to come out, the battery in the camera dies. Takes 2 hours to charge, so I have to make another souffle. And after that, we're like, how about if we just get one of those batteries that plugs in for the camera? Oh, great idea. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun. So YouTube is a great place to find us if you want to not only hear us, but see us as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Andrew. It's really been great talking to you.
It's been a pleasure. Really enjoyed getting to meet you, and we really appreciate the support you've been giving us. So keep up the good work.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Stern of 3 Pairs of Boots. So, what do you think? Is Quittin Time going to be your new favorite song? This has been Mark Gilliott for AIM Country Music Television. Thank you for watching.
Still